Hi, today we're going to talk about Latin jazz chord progressions. I'm going to give you a brief overview of some of the main chord progressions that I find when I'm playing Latin guitar. This might include Brazilian bossa novas. It's also found in some flamenco pieces and some popular Latin pieces. So let's jump in and look at some of the main chord progressions that I find in Latin guitar music. Download the PDF at my blog, latinguitarmastery.com, by clicking on the link above. It'll take you to the link for the PDF, which will have some of the chord progressions and tabs that I'm going to be talking about. The first chord progression I want to talk to you about is the 2-5-1 progression. Now, today I'm going to be talking about chords in terms of numbers, which is a good way to talk about them because it's not key specific. So if I'm talking about 2-5-1, I'm talking about the second chord, the fifth chord, and the first chord of a particular key. A really common example would be Black Orpheus or Manhã de Carnaval, which is in A minor. So the 2-5-1 progression is going to be B half diminished, E7 and A minor. So that's the chord 2, B is the chord 2, B is the second chord, E is the fifth chord of A, which is count up from A to E, and you get 5, and then we end up back in the A minor with this, which is the tonic or the first chord. So let's look at an example of that. So there you go, that's the start of Manhã de Carnaval, and it's a clear 2-5-1 progression. The second chord progression, 2-5-1 progression, we'll look at is Summer Samba. And we're going to pick it up at the end of the form where we have this nice little turnaround. So what we have there is an F major 7, we go to a B flat 9, back to F major 7, and then we get our turnaround. G minor, C7 or C9, and then we finish with back to the 1. So let's try that with the melody. 3, 4. Okay, so that's this Summer Samba, which is in the key of F. So we have a minor one, which is the Black Orpheus or Manhã de Carnaval in the key of A minor. And then we've tried one in a major key, a bossa nova. Well, in this case it says samba. It's a Brazilian Latin piece in F major. One more quick one, which is Quiet Nights. This one has an interesting 2-5-1. It has a 2-5-1, which then goes up a tone and then comes back. And this is often done in jazz and Latin jazz to prolong kind of the ending of a piece. All right, so let's just try that. So we're going to pick it up with the 2-5-1, 3, 4. So we've got a D minor, which is the 2 chord. Then we've got what I play here is a G7 with a flat 9, which is pretty much a G7, but we've added a little bit of embellishment. And then rather than go to C straight away, we're going to move up a tone. So we're going to go to E. And it's so E minor to A7. So that's the 2-5-1 in D, right? So, and then we go back to the D minor. So it kind of feels like a bit of an extended finish, extended cadence. Let's try and listen to it with the melody. 3, 4. So you can hear that you're extending the 2-5-1 by playing a 2-5-1, going up a tone, 2-5-1, back to 2-5-1, and then you finish. So it's sort of like a little bit of an escape, a little bit of a change in key, just slight modulation. And oftentimes if I'm playing in a Latin context, a Latin gig, and I'm playing with another musician, another guitarist, we'll be playing a piece like that and I'll be like, yes, let's go there. And it's kind of really common thing to do in jazz and Latin jazz. So that's the first chord progression I think that you need to look out for. And in future videos, we might even just explore that particular progression. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to explore that one a little bit further, because I can give you more examples, but also I'd like to talk to you about how to improvise over it somewhat. The second really common Latin chord progression is the Spanish cadence, which is a series of chords, descending chords down to the 1. So we start with the 4 chord, we go to the 3 chord, we go to the 2 chord, we go to the 1. It's generally done in a minor key. So an example of that would be A minor, G, then we go to F, and then we go to E. Sometimes I'll play more of a flamenco, sort of flat 9, E flat 9. So if we do it in a rumba context, so it's really, as soon as you think of that, you probably think of something flamenco, you think of something Latin. And its origins are actually from quite a long time ago, back in the Baroque. And you find that Baroque composers actually use that Spanish cadence, that Spanish descending line in a lot of music. And it's just stuck around since then. It just seems to have more of a Latin context. Let's talk about two pieces that are, you can hear that chord progression in. Would be the B section of Entre dos Aquas. So what we end up with is the first section, which is going A minor 7 to a B minor 7. And then Paco de Lucia, this is a Paco de Lucia piece, kind of changes the music and sort of brings it up a gear, and then we go into this E minor descending pattern. So we're going to play E minor, D7, C7, B7. Okay. So in this case, it's not you can either play a major chord or a 7th chord as the descending runs. So those are the chords. Let's have a try of it. Another little thing that he does over it, which is really fun, and again, I'm going to go deeper into each of these chord progressions. Just let me know which ones you'd like to know more about, especially this little chord thing that I do over the E minor, where I'm doing like a little chromatic pattern. Okay, so let's try that over the E minor progression. 3, 4. So again, it's just a little device that I use, and it's very commonly used over that Spanish cadence. The other example I'd like to give you is the bulerías, or just general descending pattern which happens in flamenco music. In the bulerías, we might play it in the D minor sense, and we'd be playing D minor, like a C9, B flat, 7, A7, flat 9. So it'd be like... something like that you'll find in a D minor, and that's a descending cadence. The next example is 1-4-5. So this is one of the most basic chord progressions, but you do find it in Latin and flamenco. I'm going to play a little bit of an excerpt from Otmar Liebert, and this is kind of like a lighter version of flamenco. I'm not even sure you would call it flamenco, but it's definitely Latin guitar sound. So let's try it. So we're going to just basically set up the 1-4-5 in A minor. 1, 4, 5. Okay, so we're going to go. So we're going to go. That's a really common progression as well. We find that Otmar Liebert using it, but it's often used in many other pieces. One more context I find you can find the 2-4-5 would be the Aranjuez Concerto, which is the Adagio section, which is in a B minor. It starts off with a B minor to A7, and then the second bit will go into the 1-4-5. Let's try that. A B minor, then we go to our E minor, then our chord 5, which is F sharp 7, and then we go back to our B minor. right, let's try that with some melody. One of the most loved and emotional, romantic Spanish guitar pieces. And contains the 1-4-5. Of course, these are just really small examples, and I'm sure that you can think of many other examples. But it'll get you thinking about. Hopefully, it'll get you thinking about different things that you could do in the Latin jazz context. The final one is the 1-flat-2. So it's basically very, very common in flamenco, but you also find it in bossa novas, things like that. It's basically a chord moved up one semitone. So in the context of flamenco, you often have E to F, which is like a Phrygian context, because the Phrygian scale starts with E to F, 1 to flat 2. So let's look at a flamenco example would be the bulletiers, where we get this. This kind of tense interplay between one up, a very small interval, and then back. And the flamenco is very much based on that tonality. And you find it in chords, but you also get it inside a chord. So the or in D minor. So where you have the A. The tension up one semitone and come back to the resolution. Let's look at it in a jazz context. Go from Ipanema, just a simple little, and occasionally you can move up and come back. So that's F major 7 up to F sharp major 7 or G flat major 7. In the case of Quiet Nights again, we end up with a C 6-9, C major 9. And that's a really fun one to play around with at the end of these major type Latin pieces. Happy to delve into a little bit further into each of these examples and show you a little bit about how to improvise, find chord tones, understand what key you're moving towards. So there you go, a few Latin guitar chord examples. 2-5-1, there's Spanish cadence, which is the 4-5, 4-3-2-1, 1-4-5, and the 1-flat-2. As always, you can like and subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get up to the 10,000 subscribers, so if you can help me do that, that would be fantastic. And there's lots of content also on my blog, latinguitarmastery.com. Ebooks, courses, you can sign up to my email list and get a free Latin chord ebook. That's it for me, and I'll see you next week. And please let me know if there's one of these chord progressions you'd like to hear more about.